As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
I'm gonna make him an offer again with you.
You're talking to my guy all wrong. It's the wrong tone. Do it again, I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
Gabagool, over here.
I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody.
Lasagna, chicken parmesan, and fettuccine alfredo.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Hello everyone and welcome into the show. Welcome in all you crime lords out there. Yes, that's right. For 1 week only, we are going back to the past. And this is Riveteer Radio. This is a defunct, no longer existing podcast that became Hunt the Week as time went on. But originally, anyway, we are Riveteer Radio and we are back. We are the crime families. I am your host with the most, your Riveteer Don. Yes, that's one more time. For one more week, I'm back. And I'm better than ever. And if you remember, we lost New Capenna very, very badly. But this is our chance to come back and to say, you know what? The Riveteers, they were waiting for Planechase. Planechase. I always want to call it Planechase. I don't know why. But in Planechase, Riveteers are coming back, and if you're a Riveteer, please stop in, say hi to me, say hi to your other Riveteers, use the Riveteer emote that we got on the server, change your sleeves, you know, you're a Riveteer for life, and this is why, because it comes back, and you are still a Riveteer, and I send a challenge out to any family Don. We're talking Steve, we're talking Damien, I don't think Ryan W. is in this one, but we are, of course, talking Cody Race. You're a Don again. For 1 week, you're a Don. So please act like it and show us why you are a leader to begin with. And we're in week 2 of Planechase, and we are going, if you haven't figured it out by now, we're going to New Capenna, Streets of New Capenna, the 3-color league. We got a lot to talk about. It's the Blitz.
It's the Blitz.
That's right. We're bringing it all back. It's the Blitz, man. Here we are. New Capenna. It was a weird format. And hey, good news. I'm already playing Brokers. So I'm a little excited about this set. First off, before we get to this week, we got to talk last week. Yes, that's right. Last week. This is as I record at 3:16 p.m. on Thursday. This is your top 8. Nick S. Najisi. You know I love saying that name, and I usually don't see up here in the top 8 in a GC. Congratulations, 5-0. Jeremy E. Lorgoif, you know that name. He's been on the show before. 5-0. Kome, C_SM. Pronouncing that wrong for sure, but you're 5-0. Sawyer T. Soyboy, he's back and better than ever, sitting at 5-0. Steve T. Strout, 4-1. Now that, of course, is one of your family Dons. Chris R. Sinkrotter, good friend, know him IRL, and he's having a good league, so congrats, Chris. Way to go, man. Dan A. beat down Bringa, 4-1. Chris was also 4-1. And Daniel G. Frisky Hobbit, the winner of our last league, sitting in there at 4-1. Ooh, and then right beneath them, you got J. Mtron, Jordan M., 4-1. Ooh, a lot of scary names. A lot of scary names there in the top 8. Scroll down enough, you're going to find me somewhere. Right now at 22. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. So how did week 1 go? Well, before we get too far into week 1, we do have to mention that last week I played a stipulation match against Cody Race. Cody challenged me to a game. We said loser gets humiliated in the winner's choice, and we hadn't really picked what that was going to be. And Cody kind of mopped the floor with me with his deck. So Cody won. And so now, from now on, forever and ever, or until I get sick of it or challenge Cody to some other kind of stipulation match, whenever I mention Cody Race on the podcast, I'm going to play this drop. Cody Race is the best player on the server. There it is. Cody, I am begrudgingly acknowledging that you are an amazing Magic player and possibly the best on the server. If people believe what I say, and I'll tell you right now, don't believe what I say. Most of the things I say are wrong. But congrats, Cody. You beat me pretty good, and now you are immortalized on the show because that's what you wanted to do. Actually, Cody wanted to make it really annoying with like fingernails on chalkboards and stuff, and I can't make the show annoying on purpose. Not on purpose. I mean, it's annoying anyway, but I'm not going to purposefully add in shrieks and screams and nails on a chalkboard just to make people more mad at Cody. Cody gets enough hate. Cody Race is the best player on the server. All right, no more talking about that person. Week 1, I went 3-2. I love it. I think Planechase is great. I'm having a really good time. I am loving seeing all of the weird chaos mashups that are basically happening, right? I'll give you one of mine. This one's my favorite that I've seen in my favorite that I have in my pool. And that's I got a Risen Reef in my opening 6 packs. Risen Reef, great card, 1/1. Whenever you play an elemental, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, put it on the battlefield, tapped. And if it's not a land, put it in your hand. Draws cards if you have elementals. Well, how are you going to get elementals? Goku? Well, I also opened a Maskwood Nexus. And Maskwood Nexus says every creature in your library, hand, wherever, is every creature type. And I did live the dream. I had one of my games. I had a Risen Reef out, had Maskwood Nexus out, and everything was an elemental. And oh boy, was that good. I'll tell you what, I've seen another one that I like a lot, and that's Helm of the Host. But that same deck also has Azeka's Chariot. And Azeka's Chariot can copy any token. Helm of the Host makes a token. Azeka's Chariot, crew it, boom, copy that token again. Oh, it's gross. This is what I like. I like seeing all these weird interactions that, we can make. What's your combo, right? Because I've got combos in a couple different colors for my tribes, right? I've got a Goblin Lord. I'm not playing it, but I got a Goblin Lord, right? And with Maskwood, everything's a goblin. There you go. So I'm sure you're seeing some pretty fun things in your deck, fun ways that it's working together. I went 3-2. It was a fine week, as I like to say. Emmett told me this, and I always think it's great advice. He doesn't expect to ever do better than 3-2. So if I do 3-2, I feel like I am doing all right. It's, of course, a winning record. And I did get a couple packs added to my pool for this next week, which is, of course, the SNC Family Mafia week. And what does that mean for everybody? Well, SNC is a very interesting plane, because I believe SNC is the only plane that rewards winning. Every time you win on SNC, you get to pick one card from the opponent's lost pack and add it to your deck. It's probably going to be the rare, might be a mythic, maybe you're just grabbing lands for fixing. Whatever it is, every time you win, you get a card of your choice. And boy, this is a rich get richer mechanic if I ever saw one. This is Spike Week. This is the plane that it's better to win on this plane than it is to win anywhere else. So yeah, pull out all the stops. This is spike it up. Play those. Pull up their deck. You don't normally do it. This is the week to do it. Pull up their deck list. What are they playing? What are you playing around? Try to watch them on stream. What's their deck? What are they playing? Maybe you try and snipe some people off. Watch that LFM bot. Watch a live game. Oh, that game just ended, and there's another LFM up. Good chance it's somebody who played in that game. Probably the winner. If you think you have a good chance at them, take them on. Because winning on SNC is more important than winning on any other plane. Because if you go 5-0, you're going to be adding 5 very strong cards to your deck, and you're not going to be able to do that on any other plane that we go to. SNC is also just a strong set. Right? This is just a powerful set. Lots of lands, lots of fixing. Jewel Thief, fantastic card. Hopefully you're playing brokers. But we all know how strong that this set was, and this was a strong one. Good rares, good uncommons, good commons even. Like, this is going to be a power. We've been talking about how this is a low-powered league, and that's going to start changing, right? Kaldheim had a pretty good power level, and that snow really helped out a lot. And now we're going to be going to an even more powerful plane. And I hope we don't just keep going to new plane, a bunch of sets from the last year, because this power level is going to get crazy and off the walls. But SNC Family Dons, we're back. I'm a Riveteer. If you're a Riveteer, I give you a salute and a tip of my cap, because you're very special. You're a very special person to me and to the league. Well, this week I was able to connive with a player in the league that actually told me they wanted to come on the show. And I'll say, if you want to come on the show and I haven't come to you, come to me, please. Who I pick to come on the show is very random a lot of the time. It's who's doing well, or who's somebody whose name I just see a lot. And if you're like, man, I love listening and I really love to come on the show, please reach out to me. I'll get you on. Like, if you want to come on, I'll get you on. I'd much rather get on people that want to be a part of this than people who are begrudgingly coming on. Not that has really happened with anybody, because everyone comes on and realize, oh, I'm a cool, awesome guy, and we're talking Magic, and oh, it's so much fun. And that's what happened this week. So let's go ahead and let's connive.
Time to connive.
Yes, this week I talked to Tony G. Why not? Winner of Mid League. Tony, so cool, man. Tony was awesome. I love talking to Tony. I'm just gonna play the interview. It was so good. With none other than Tony G. Why not? Thanks for coming on the show, Tony.
Thanks for having me. This is going to be a blast. We're looking forward to this.
It's gonna be great. You're a league winner, mid league winner. Nothing mid about you, but you came in and we were just chatting. You won your very first league, which was mid. That blows my mind, man.
Yeah, no, I speaking of rolling the dice, really won the dice roll on on mid league. I remember opening one of the more busted pools right off the start, lots of bombs, and kind of just filled it out with more. It was really a fun way to join the league, and had a blast, honestly.
I will say I love your email because I know that you use it to talk to Caleb a lot because you're both like the why nots, and I think it's so funny that every time I see you and Caleb talking and that pops up, I'm like, oh, it brings back good memories of when that emote came around, and I love seeing that.
For those who don't know, it had many purposes, the why not emote, because it was a final showdown, that league, between Caleb and myself, and both their usernames have why not, and it seemed like a very applicable emotion to have an emote for, you know. Kind of like that, what, I want to put this weird card into my deck that maybe won't fit. What emote do I use? Why not?
Why not? It's like shrugging emoji guy. It's like, yeah,
exactly.
Sure, well, I love it. It's one that I always enjoy seeing around. And I thank you for coming on the show, Tony. I've been around. I've been watching you. I remember when you won that league, and it was you came out of nowhere and you crushed us like many of the new people do these days. But I got to know, because you crushed us so good then, when did you start playing Magic, Tony?
I'm actually fairly recent to the Magic scene. I started probably around Guilds of Ravnica. I think I struggled to pinpoint exactly which set I started in. I started on Arena, and I just remember a lot of Ixalan, Dominaria, and I think Guilds was the draft set out at the time when I started. So,
do you hold that set with fond memories as like your set, or do you have a different set that you think back on and you're like, this is the set that got me into Magic?
I think so that's when I think I started in if I were to pick a set that I like glued to, is when I started playing paper Magic a little bit and going to like Friday Night Magic drafts, and that would have been War of the Spark. And some of those big planeswalkers and scary God Eternals. So I can remember I've been playing a bunch on Magic Arena before I did this, but I remember going to my first paper draft and opening Rowlesk and Nissa. And I needless to say, I walked away with that draft. It was a really good draft deck.
Always play War Nissa every time.
Oh, absolutely. I'm hoping we planeswalk back to War at some point here, and I can relive that pack opening. But that I think really cemented in my mind the like competitiveness of Magic. I've always been a rather competitive player, and winning a draft with live people really kind of cemented that feeling. I mean, sure, it was some luck. I opened some crazy bombs,
of course,
but
it always feels good to win, right? It's hard to feel bad when you come in first place, and if you open good cards on top of it, you're like, well, I made my money back and I won. Like, yeah, it's a pretty good day.
Exactly. No, and but it also like helped me get into the community here a little bit, and like realize, oh, paper Magic is something really fun. There's other real people as opposed to just playing online. I think that's what really cemented me into, okay, I am really enjoying this game. I'm gonna keep playing this for a long time.
Paper Magic, it is a little different. It sure is a lot of fun. It's not something I think we all do as much maybe as we used to, but we play online, Tony, in the Sealed Arena Gauntlet League. How did you find the league, by the way? Since you came in on mid, are you a Redditor? Found it on Reddit?
I am a Redditor. It was interesting. I actually heard on Limited Resources, another podcast, another Magic podcast.
A smaller podcast than Hunt the Week, but we'll give them their accolades.
Yeah,
check them out. They need the help.
Yeah, I know. But they're doing good work over there. One of them had mentioned doing a paper sealed league, basically, where or I don't, it might have even been like a webcam league during COVID or something like that. And I thought that was a really neat idea, similar concept to what we do here.
For sure.
And so I went just Googling around, browsing Reddit, found this league, and I was like, hey, this is exactly what I was looking for from the convenience of my own home with a wonderful Discord community. Hopped in, won a league, had a blast.
Bada bing, bada boom. Here we are, man. You hop in, you win a league. I wouldn't say, did you even leave for a little bit? Did you? I wouldn't say you did you miss a couple leagues?
Yeah. I ducked out around SNC for a couple leagues there. SNC Baldur's Gate, I wasn't around for those ones, or AFR. So that was just life was really busy. I was finishing up school, and so had to duck out for a couple leagues. I'm probably gonna have to duck out for another league soon, as well. But that's kind of just gonna be my balance. I can't make everyone.
This
So
this man in here, self-control. I have a hard time like not even when I'm stuck on time and I'm like I'm barely paying any attention to what's going on. It's like I still gotta play my league games and get my stuff in.
yeah.
It's ingrained into me at this point.
Oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could, and there's the like I want to be able to keep it up as much as I can, but sometimes life has to come
It's
first. And
probably better that you don't. I mean, it shows that you are a strong-willed person that can get his things done on time.
sometimes.
Well, let's talk about what's going on now. So you won mid league. Yeah, we got your emote on the server. You're a league winner. You played in the Player of the Year tournament. I remember you came back for that. That was a lot of fun.
Blast.
But we are now in Planechase League. I want to know how's it going? How was your opening pool? How have your matches been? What do you think of the format? Let's talk about it.
All right. So start with my stuff, and we'll move to format stuff, I guess.
sure.
I've played 3 games out. I opened a fairly strong pool. I felt like I opened a classic, but one that still holds up, a Lyra Dawnbringer.
Oh, ouch.
Yep. Turns out that she is still a good card, even in 2023 in this new
Flying
year.
first strike lifelink, basically, right?
Yep. One of the interesting things I've found with my games, both practice and regular, is I get into the mentality of, oh, this is a losing board state right now. I'm really rough. Maybe I should just concede, And then every time I think, but what if I drew a Lyra off the top?
Yeah.
And I've realized that card resets most board states.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple times where I've had to play to that out, and I've drawn that Lyra off the top. She stabilizes, she swings back. Game in the bag.
I've had that happen in my games too, where I'm like, all right, where's my life link? And I'm like, oh, I don't have any. Okay, never mind. Like, I'm not coming back. Right. But if you have a big life link flying first strike thing, like, yeah, you can come back. You can stabilize,
Yep.
You just gotta hope they don't have that one removal spell.
Oh yeah, which is another thing I've noticed in the early stages of this format. Is that removal is kind of like a high commodity, a rare commodity.
It's not good.
It's not good. We're playing with some low power here and some messy pools.
Yeah.
I played against somebody who I dropped Lyra both games, and they didn't even play it out because they knew they had no hard removal in their pool. They're like, you know what? I literally cannot beat this card. I don't have hard removal.
And I was playing black for most of this league, black red, and I also had no hard removal. So that happened to me in one game where it's like I can deal 5, I can deal 4, I can deal damage to stuff, but I do not have a kill creature spell in my pool, which is frustrating for things like that.
Yeah, which I'd say, like, to any of you struggling with like pool building right now, if you're don't have like heavy bombs to carry things away, play to your removal colors. If you've got hard removal, even if you're having to splash it, like let's say you have terrible black creatures, but you've got 3 good black removal spells, or even a couple of them, I would highly advise in this first week, that is a rare commodity to find. So if you can make it work, like don't destroy your deck to get it in there, but if you can make it work, put some hard removal in your deck.
Yeah, you got to kill some stuff out there. We're all not, lousy with all these kill spells. Because, like I said, it's if I don't have them, and if I don't have them, a lot of people probably don't have them. You got to be able to deal with this Lyra and other crazy stuff that people have, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, and like there are still bombs. Like as much as we say this is a low powered format, there's still bombs out there. You
Yep.
still got to deal with them. Unconditional removal is king. Or whatever removal you can get. But like yeah, it's a good league so far.
Yeah, how do you feel about? Have you lost any matches? Have you opened any of the Kaldheim packs? Are you starting to see the
Yeah.
snow come in?
So I'm 2-1 so far. I lost my first match and immediately added like 4 or 5 solid cards to my deck.
Yeah.
Felt great.
Yeah.
It was kind of like I had a lot of cards in my pool that were just skirting the edge of playable or were
Yep.
like some sketchy splashes. And then I opened Kaldheim, got like 5 on color cards, and just that upgrade was amazing.
Yeah, your week 1, game 1 decks are there's always like a handful of stinkers in there.
Yeah.
And I had the same experience where it's like, okay, like this pack's not great, but it replaces all the bad cards I have, so I'm happy to have this,
Yeah, it just shores up your deck a lot. I don't have any snow in there yet. I actually have been lazy enough that I haven't even put any of snow lands in my deck because I have no reason to. And it takes more effort to build that mana base.
That's true.
But I think a lot of people I've seen have been opening some of those snow payoffs already. And with the 5 of each basic land, I think that's actually a pretty solid base to effectively use any snow cards.
I would agree. Going back to my first pack, I opened up the Frostbolt, which is like a red mana. If you have 3 snow lands, deals 3 damage instead of 2. I had my snow lands. All of a sudden, I'm playing this card, and hey, it's even better because I got the snow lands. Right? It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's sweet. I think the 5 and 5 is like 50% of your mana base a lot of the time,
Yeah.
especially if you open any duels, or if you're splashing for a third color. So you're actually pretty consistent for turning on most snowlands. It feels like you've spent a good portion of your draft as if we were drafting this set, picking up those snow basics.
Yeah, because if it was pack per or land per pack, we got 5. That's 25 packs basically, right? So that's a nice little start of lands for us to have.
Oh, it's great. I think it's a really nice feature for this plane for sure. Yeah.
I think so too, and I want to know: are there any planes that you're really looking forward to trying to visit? There's a lot of them out there. We're only going to see a couple of them. Is there one that you're like, man, please roll this? I really want to see this plane.
I mean, what I love about this idea in general, is the deck building restriction planes. I think there's some, so that I think of the planes right now in a couple of different ways. There's planes I want to visit because they just have high power level and I want to lose on those planes in some way, right?
Sure,
and
sure.
open some bombs. Like let's go to Brothers War and open me like a, I don't know, Portal to Phyrexia or something.
Yeah, sure.
And that's fine, but you also don't want to lose.
Yeah.
But what I think is supremely unique about this league, this time around, is the planes that restrict your deck building in some way. So I pulled up the week 1 to 4 ones that I'm looking forward to. Are Baldur's Gate, Kaladesh Remastered, War of the Spark, and Ixalan, I believe. So like Baldur's Gate makes us play some Brawl.
Yeah.
Kaladesh is no mythics or rares, I think, which would kind of suck because there goes my Lyra. But
oh yeah, you screwed yourself, buddy.
I know. War is no flashes or instants, and Ixalan. Oh wait, no, Ixalan might be no rares.
I think Ixalan is like.
Oh, no
Ixalan might be like
legendaries.
no legendaries.
Yeah, no legendaries. Which also screws Lyra. But like, regardless, what I find really interesting about it is in these leagues, often you end up playing the same pool or the same deck that just changes a little bit week to week, and maybe you like get something that just pulls you into a different color. Some of these deck building restrictions will make kind of just throw whole decks out the window and can kind of upset the status quo. I think it could also add a huge element of a balancing move to somebody who's gone 5-0 with an extremely strong deck is kind of forced into a new archetype that could rebalance their week 2 a little bit.
Yeah, that so sometimes people get real far ahead, right? And then it's hard to catch up. But then if you make them go up to 80 cards or make them play Brawl, they're not playing the same kind of deck because they might not be able to have a legendary in their colors, right? Or they may have this busted mythic or legendary or instant that now they can't play anymore. And kind of evens it out a little bit. So I do hope we get some of these deck restricted. I think Eldraine also is like you can only play one color. And like,
Yeah,
oh
I think
man,
that's the week 4 to 6 one.
yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
oh boy, doesn't that one sound fun? Like only one color, like, oh, that would be wild.
I don't know if you know about this or if the public at general does. I think it is Caleb G. Why not?
Sure.
Who on his 10th loss will always or has consistently, I don't know if he always does it, tried to build a monocolored deck for to play out the rest of his
Yep.
games. And
Caleb does some weird stuff.
and it's great, and I love to see it because it's a cool, unique deck building restriction that creates something that you'd never see, and it just changes the pool up entirely. Like you go into week 4 and try and look at your pool and see if you can build a monocolored deck. It's really hard.
Yeah. And Caleb usually does fairly well with those too, right? Caleb's he's a good player, and if he can build a good single color deck, he's gonna do it.
Absolutely. No, he's definitely a good player, and it shows that it's possible. I hope so. Yeah, I really just hope we get some of these restrictive planes. It'll make us feel the uniqueness of this format, I think.
Yeah, so far it's hard to judge it off anything other than it's kind of a Kaldheim chaos, right? Because that's all we're doing right now. But I'm excited to see where we go next week and see what changes happen and where we go, because we're going to see a little bit of Kaldheim for the rest of this tournament, right? As well as what packs we got in our starting pool. But Kaldheim's going to be one of those sets that you're always going to see Snowlands probably because people have cards to play off them.
Yeah. No, I think Kaldheim's if you're going to familiarize yourself with a plane, you should try and remember, like, look up a list of foretell cards when the card just moves off to the side of their hand there. Try and think, okay, 1 second, what might they be playing in these colors? There's some value to be had there, and because that's going to be relevant for the rest of this league.
Yep. I know I've got some foretell cards, and they're not normal ones that you might think about. So, like, yeah, and we're gonna have to remember that every week. You're gonna be like, okay, what were the cards in that set? Okay, now, okay. Now what about this set? Okay, yeah, okay, what are the cards in that set? Oh,
yeah. Chaos adds a lot of thinking, where you can't just memorize what are the combat tricks from this standard set we're playing and move along with that. You have to think, oh, 1 second, Run Amok was in original Dominaria. Could they have Run Amok here? That really screws me right now.
And don't be afraid to read the cards, because I know I've screwed myself at least once this week because I didn't fully read the card and didn't really remember how it worked. So your opponent plays a card with a bunch of text box on it. Just read it real quick and familiarize yourself. Because
absolutely,
we're
playing some old cards and you forget.
You most definitely do. Tony, we got to keep going. I'm really enjoying Planechase League myself. I can't wait to see where we go next. I'm very excited and looking forward to it. But I want to know right now, what is your favorite Magic card?
My gosh, you had sent me this before the podcast to think about, and I struggled. This was a hard question. So I hope you don't mind if I put in a couple of submissions.
Fine. We can do. People have done top 3s. I think maybe even a top 5 has been done. All right. Yes, that's totally fine.
I'm putting in a couple submissions, and they're for different categories.
Okay, right? I like this.
All right. So I'm going to go with art as my first one, my favorite art on a Magic card. And this is the one which I still haven't done this, but at some point I'm going to splurge to buy a nice poster, is from OG Dominaria, Knight of Grace and Knight of Malice.
Okay.
And I know people are going to be pulling up these arts right now. The part I love is when you can put the two together and both their abilities, their designs. It's a gorgeous looking, when put next to each other, they're these two knights of darkness and light charging at each other. And the symmetry between the two cards feels really nice, in my humble opinion.
Yep. The white one has hexproof from black. The black one has hexproof from white.
Yeah. So, and I love those cards in the set too. Like they were just, again, I think I've played a lot of Dominaria. They were great draft cards. So I think that's my pick for favorite art. And then I'm gonna do two more. We've got next one,
Yeah, let's go.
Helm of the Hosts.
Ooh, I love Helm of the Host.
I Helm of the Hosts played it in Brothers War this past set. It's my this card isn't always great, but I can't help myself from playing it kind of submission.
What was your favorite thing to copy with Helm of the Host in Brothers War?
So that one might be cheating here because I opened Angel of Sanctions from Amonkhet during my Brothers War, and I copied it a couple of times, put a helm on it, and that means every time it's coming in, you just exile a non-land permanent. I don't think I got to copy it more than once. Most games, my opponents usually conceded after that. And it's just one of those things where I know it costs 9 mana to get one creature, and sometimes it gets removed, but it's just too much fun.
When it does its thing, it does its thing. And there's plenty of creatures that with a good ETB or something you want to copy, right?
Oh, absolutely. No, and when it works hard. Like it will win you the game. It's just expensive.
Yes.
Yeah. And then my last card that I'm gonna go with is I have always loved ridiculous build around cards. This one has never worked out for me in limited, for obvious reasons, but I've loved playing constructed with this card. Is Enigmatic Incarnation, which is a wild card, 4-mana enchantment. You can sacrifice a enchantment to go search your library for a creature of the 1 CMC higher than the enchantment and put it onto the battlefield. It's a shitty birthing pod, and I love it.
I'm reading this card like, this is nonsense, man. This one, I remember when this was in Theros Beyond Death. I could not play this card for the life of me. It's like, it's birthing pod, but you need enchantments and creatures at the same time that like offset each other.
Absolutely. But I played a constructed list, I think in like Historic or something, or Explorer, which was just full of ETB enchantments and ETB creatures and value creatures. So you were just like you were playing the draw card enchantments, the like Omens of the Sun, Omens of the Sea, and then you'd sack them with this card to go tutor up a Cloud Blazer for extra value or something, or a Chupacabra. So it's again not a great card, but I love fun build arounds.
That's one that really makes you work too. That's not like an easy build around. That one's like, that's a deck building restriction right there. Like that
absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, well, Tony, you've been in the league for a while. You've seen some, you've left. Things have probably changed while you're gone, and you've had to come back and maybe readjust. So you've seen how things can change in the league. And this is a question I like to ask most people that come on. What's one thing that you would change about the league if you could? And there's lots of things that may need changing or maybe not. Or just see what people think.
I had a couple ideas for this one. And I want to say I don't think I'm looking at changes. I'm looking at additions here.
I like it
because I do think that the formula we've got going on here is pretty great. I think the people who set it up knew what they were doing. Things are moving smoothly. But two things I think I'd like to add. One is format guides. So I know we have a lot of very experienced players, very intelligent players, very experienced limited players, and I think there would be some value to somehow setting up a limited format guide. I know somebody was doing a YouTube like review, but potentially like a written form, similar to LR sometimes does ratings, or some other websites might do that. But within our community of kind of like, here's our analysis of the ongoing limited formats, or even potentially having reviews for specifically designed for Sealed League, because what you might evaluate in in regular limited might not apply to our league in particular, Gauntlet League here.
So you saying like one for every league we do, or one that's like, hey, this is league, it's a little different, and this is what we think makes us different than your traditional limited tournament?
I think both would be valuable. I'm particularly thinking like kind of one per league. And I think this is something that may not be a league thing to ask for, but maybe like if somebody's willing to step up and do this kind of thing. And create these guys, because we're hopefully getting a lot of new players in, and this is a valuable resource that we can bring to our community, right? We're always looking to help each other out. I love seeing when we've got the decathlon going on or limited arena opens going on, people are submitting their decks for review, people are streaming and asking for opinions and advice. It's great. And I think this is another valuable resource we could add to make use of our experience, is having some of the players, some of the limited experts in our league put together some format guides kind of thing.
I like it. I think that's something great. That would be very useful. And we've got the new player primer, but this would be kind of good for everybody, especially if we're going into like a weird league or something where it's like, hey, this is what we think may be beneficial to know before we start for everybody.
Especially, yeah, definitely. And I think as well, like we were saying earlier in the podcast, sometimes you don't have time for league, as much time for league.
For sure.
And for somebody who wants to stay like active in the league, but maybe can't devote all their time to being uber competitive, then having like a quick down and dirty, here's what you need to know, could be super helpful for them. If especially you have a busy week, is this a card I want to put in my deck? Let's
Exactly.
quick
I love it.
consult the charts. And then the one other thing that I'll add to this, especially because we've seen it here today, is webcams. I think
yeah, that's great.
I think we should start doing webcams. Streams are great. I want to start seeing faces. Start knowing our people better. So I don't know how best to set that up, but I think I'd love to see more webcams in our league.
I'm down, of course. If you're gonna stream a match, why not throw a webcam on? Let us see your face. Let us see that frustrated face you get when you draw that fifth land in the row. And let's see let's see that excited face you get when you top deck that Lyra when you're about to lose.
Exactly. Get the emotions going. I think it'll be a good time.
It also is just really fun to see what people look like. It's a nice thing that I get to do, with the podcast. And a lot of people in Canada, they meet up they go to drafts and stuff together. They all get to see each other in person. But the rest of us spread throughout the world, I've been playing Magic on this thing for like 2 years, and a lot of these people I still have no idea what they look like, and it's so fun to learn that and to be like, oh, there's Tony, and he's got some really cool hair. Tony looks awesome, by the way. Tony's a cool dude.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I love that idea of being able to put a face to the name. It adds. We may see the personality in how people play or how they chat on here, but it just that visual element brings you back to your paper Magic experience. We're not just anonymous names on Discord or in Arena. We're people, and I think that this would be a cool element to kind of bring that together and build that community even more.
I will say Damien will always be Bob Ross to me, no matter what he looks like. Damien is Bob Ross. I don't care what anybody says.
Absolutely. Sometimes the profile pictures are just going to be too unique, and you can't disassociate from that.
All right, well, we're running out of time, so before we let you go, we got to speed run this last question because we only got about 4 minutes before Zoom kicks us off, and that is, what is your greatest Magic accomplishment, Tony?
All right, greatest Magic accomplishment. I have won an Arena Open.
Hey, wait, whoa, hey, now what?
Yeah, that's my I back in Eldraine Constructed.
Whoa.
When Embercleave and Adventures were running rampant, I played Gruul aggro in a standard, I think it was standard, Arena Open, and took it to a 7-2 or 7-1 on day 2. Won my $2,000. It was the most stressed I have ever been playing
Oh
Magic.
man, congratulations.
Yeah, no, it was sweet. It was very tense, very exciting. And I remember like some of my housemates play Magic, and I remember them while I was streaming it for them, and they're watching in the other rooms like, what's he gonna do?
Oh, yeah.
What's he
Oh my
gonna
God.
do? It was great. And of course that puts more stress on me. I've got an
Yeah.
audience. I really gotta play the play my cards carefully. But yeah, I'd say, I mean, close second is winning mid league, but
Oh,
like
for sure.
the 2 grand was pretty nice.
Yeah, 2 grand is pretty nice. Quick question: how long does it take to get that money? Was that like a couple months of
uh
waiting?
I think it was like a month or two.
Yeah,
It took them a few weeks afterwards to like send out the paperwork and
sure.
get you registered. But it wasn't that long afterwards to get the cash. I definitely had a bit of an issue, and I'll say this as a expectations warning for any international players. You might have to pay taxes on that.
Ooh,
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it definitely was so 2 grand US was supposed to be like two and a half or like 2.7 grand Canadian.
sure.
And it ended up going back down to about 2 grand Canadian, which is still
Ooh.
nice,
Oh
still
yeah.
nice. But I think Americans might benefit a little bit more from these arena opens. Just put your expectations that you might have to pay a little bit to get your money.
Well, hey, that's good. That's good news to have. Probably not something a lot of people think about when they're playing these arena opens. And how cool is it, man? I've done a couple and I've day two'd a couple times, but I've never made any money. And man, that's gotta feel good to make money playing Magic. That's gotta
Oh,
be a
it
good time.
was it was amazing. But I've loved the arena opens, love the limited ones. Um, and I hope everybody gets a chance to try and play in them. And if you can cash out, it's awesome.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Tony. I really appreciate you making time. And I hope you do well in the rest of your Planechase League, man. I hope you have good luck out there.
For sure, thank you, and you as well. I'm open to see you and everybody else out there play some games. It's going to be a blast. We're going to explore a lot of fun new planes. I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to this.
Let's do some planes walking together and let's see where we go. And hopefully we get some of the weirder ones, right? I want to see some of these weird planes, Chris. I want to see them.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, good luck out there, Tony. And again, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, no worries.
Tony was the first person that I ran out of time talking to. I don't pay for Zoom. I'm very cheap. It's the same reason why there's only so many episodes of this up at a time. It's because I don't pay for hosting. Also cheap. But I only got 40 minutes to talk to Tony, and we stopped with like 2 minutes left, and we just kept talking, and we talked till it cut us off. Tony seems like such a cool guy. Somebody I really could talk to. After that, I was like, man, I could talk to that guy all the time. I bet we'd be friends. Tony, I bet you'd be my friend if I actually knew you and lived in Canada. But then you'd beat me in Magic all the time, so maybe that's not the best idea. But man, such a nice guy, very informative. I was there when he won that league, and it was his first league. You don't see that a lot. And Tony, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Love talking to you. And if you want to come on the show, please reach out to me. Can't promise I'll get you on soon. I think Tony came to me maybe 3 weeks ago, but hey, I'll get you on when I can. And that's it. That's the show this week. We talked to Tony. We're on SNC, New Streets of New Capenna. Go get your fixing. Go get your strong rares, strong uncommon. This is where you're going to start making your deck better. This is the week to do it, man. And do it by winning. If you do it losing on this plane, it's still pretty good because you're going to be getting some good packs. But winning on this plane, oh, that's the sugar on top of the cake. Just taking the rare or mythic out of the pack you open up. Oh my gosh, it's going to be gross. These packs, these decks, they're going to get very strong very quick. It's like all the people that are 5-0 right now need any extra help, right? But hey, somebody decided it was a good idea to reward winning, something that I don't think we should ever do. But hey, we're doing it this week on this plane. So go out there and win. This is a plane you want to win on. And like I said, spike it. Spike it hard. Whatever you do, whatever your tricks are, maybe you use the LFM bot and put in, no one over 3 and 2, and then but you're 5-0, and there you are taking all the wins for yourself. Go out, get those wins. Spike this week. If you go 5-0, 4-1, it's gonna. I mean, you're gonna use those cards basically the rest of the league, right? You're gonna use those things to take you to hopefully your next mega draft, and I'm gonna be there rooting for you. Specifically, more if you're a Riveteer. I root for all my Riveteers. I love my Riveteers. Even Marley in the Gitrog, not even in the server anymore. But I remember your name because you were a Riveteer. And I'm excited to see where we go next week. SNC is one that Cody even posted about it early on. Cody Race is the best player on the server. 5 hours before it happened, I had a dream last night. We're going to SNC. Ha ha ha. Yeah, right, Cody. Frickin', you had too many shots last night, Cody, and now you're having dreams of SNC. But guess what? Here we are. We're on SNC, and he's the guy who put us here. And until we find our next league next week, when we go back to rolling the planar die and we once again shut down Riveteer Radio for good, I hope that you get to keep a good 7. I really do. Unless you're playing me, good 4. Just take a good 4, please. I'm sick of losing. And I hope the shuffler's in your favor, because that thing's still broken. I'm playing 3 colors, I'm only hitting 2. What's wrong with this thing? It's broken. Someone needs to fix it. Fix the algorithm. Get Sawyer up in there. Sawyer, I know what he does with our bots. He'll fix Magic Arena in like a day. He'll give me my lands that I don't have to put in every single time by hand. Just give me basic land favorites. Please, Sawyer. This is all on you at this point. And we'll see everybody here next week on the show. Thanks again. Bye, everybody.